Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, tuning in today now. Welcome to the Huttons Consumer Connect. And tonight is the consumer seminar for this very exciting topic on Q2 2024 landed market analysis. So, has the defiant landed market finally became? Well, find out more from Willie Ching and his team from the Huttons Landed Division. Also known as the Landed Prince. So Willie has been with Huttons for many years and he has established Huttons Landed Division. More than 13 years of real estate experience since 2013. All right. And together with his team, they have transacted many properties, especially landed properties, which number an astonishing 300 landed properties. So he's also a multiple award winner, millionaire producer in 2021 and 2023. All right, so find out more from today's seminar from Willie and his team. All right, and this is just some examples of some portfolios that Willie has achieved. Okay, and of course, the big team there to support you. This is the Huttons Landed Division and the various ICs, the district ICs that will be speaking at the seminar later. All right, so I'll hand the time over back to Willie for this to start off and kickstart this very exciting webinar. Willie, please.
Thank you, Sean. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my team here at Huttons Landed Division, we welcome you to the next installment, our second quarter of 2024, our quarterly webinar. All right, so this is the rest of our team. We have about more than 90 plus members now, as what Sean has mentioned. If you're new to us, you probably have heard from us or from the webinar via this there's a social media channel. So if you have not, you can screenshot this or you can scan any of the QR codes, right, to get in touch with us or, of course, your Huttons consultant who has invited you, right? So I think this is not new. We have done this for several years now. All right, we started as quarterly reports. Now this has progressed to an online consumer engagement seminar. So this being the last one, the last we did was 3 months ago. If you have missed this, again, this is the QR code. You can just, it's all our webinars are actually saved onto our YouTube channels. All right, so you can just go to our YouTube channels and visit. I think this is one of the most popular we had. We have more than, I think, most 1,005 views. Okay, for something that is very niche, something that's very specific. I think it's something that's it's very rewarding and like heartening to us. Okay. All right. So like I said, we don't know how many of you are new to us. So this is probably just do a quick survey just to understand whether you are new to us or new to this webinar. All right. So if I could just launch this, you could help us to share whether is this your first time joining this webinar. If it's your first time, by the way, there's also a chat function as well. So feel free to key in your questions if you have any queries, because we'll be covering quite a lot as usual. Even just today, which is a shortened version, is really almost 200 plus slides. Okay, so if there's anything you want to ask that's not quite answered during that, please put it inside. My panelists or my team of management team here will do our best to answer all your questions. Okay. So, okay, quite heartening. We have more than 71%, all right, more than 70% who are first timers. Okay, now 68, 32. Okay, if you have a key in your poll, that will be good. You know why I asked this question? Some of you may answer. All right, because for the past many webinars, while being a very comprehensive, I think for the first time you come in, you might feel a bit overwhelmed by the numbers that we're going to present. Okay, but fear not, because I think what we attempt to do is not just to make you memorize numbers, but it's read the stories, the implications, and I think the analysis behind it. All right, what do the numbers mean to you? Okay, so because of this, majority of this, I think I won't skip the next few slides. I'll go through, I think, some of the important things. Okay, which is firstly, how can this webinar help you? All right, whether you are a buyer or a seller, most of you are, I think, as a stakeholder in the landed market, most of you join because you have a vested interest. Okay, so whether you're a buyer or seller, just first, I think this will help you to be aware, especially if it's the first time. All right, what's the overall health of the landed market now in terms of both transaction value and volume, right? If you're new here, you're just entering, you're going to make a first multi-million purchase, for example, or you're going to sell the house that you've been staying in for the last 20, 30 years, right? What is actually the average so-called health? What is the average indicators that we have now? Not only that, we're going to go into the various contributing sub-segments. And we say various, I'm not exaggerating when I say there are really many, many ways to which we can subdivide and actually understand this market, dissect this market further. In fact, we've been known over the past many years to be one of the, if not the most, there's a most comprehensive and most detailed landed market analysis that's present in the market right now. All right. So later, if this is the first time, you'll start to see. Okay. Importantly, of course, is to understand consumer behavior patterns. By consumer, we mean the buyers and sellers that each contributed for the last 3 months to all the numbers that we're going to see. All right. After the awareness is for you to then understand, okay, what has in the last 3 months, or sometimes we cover a year, what's the past market action, what's the market behavior, so that this can guide you in your future decisions, right? So in case you are thinking of buying and selling, at least it will give you a guide, okay? Having said this, we also have to caution you that the past, okay, what has happened, we have learned from experience that the past, while it give us a guide, it may not necessarily dictate the future. Nobody does, right? We don't have a crystal ball, but at least it helps us. But still, we don't want you to hold on to a specific number, specific indicator, and hold on to that, because every day the market is changing, all right? And very importantly, like I said, there'll be a lot of numbers, a lot of figures there. All may not matter to you. All right, not all numbers matter to you, but please later focus on the most relevant ones. By relevant ones, I give you an example. If you are now entering the market, thinking of buying, let's say a detached house, or sorry, a semi-D, let's say, for example, semi-D in District 20, for example. Later, you may want to focus on just on the District 20 side, or maybe look at semi-D side, or maybe look at freehold semi-D's certain trends, right? Things that has happened, so to speak, instead of worrying too much about the numbers. Because here we're trying to cover as much as possible, but understanding each of you have different needs, it may not, some may not be relevant to you, right? Last but not least, knowledge. We always believe is power. There's something that me and my team, we pride ourselves in, to be able to guide you and give you advice. I think important is empower us with knowledge. And now we want to transfer this knowledge, right, to us, the consumers, the buyers and sellers as well. Now, this power allows you and helps you to better negotiate, negotiate, right? When it comes to a deal, a decision-making process in terms of pricing your property, in terms of which area to go to, in terms of what what kind of house size, etc., etc. All right, all these things will be very important to you, all right? And of course, to achieve your target more effectively. Okay. I hope this is useful so far. And now, next thing is, there are probably two groups of you here, right? Some might have already been in the market. If you're already in the market now, already buying, in the process, started searching, or have been in the market trying to sell your property, I think the data we're going to show later will be very useful in terms of use this to compare the experience that you're going through now, all right? So if you've been trying to, for example, looking for the semi-D that I mentioned to you, is it very difficult to find, all right? Are the prices asking too high, you feel, compared to what has been transacted, all right? And if you're a seller, is it taking too long to sell, etc.? And then you adjust your expectations accordingly, because a lot of the consumers, a lot of the sellers and buyers that we met, many a times actually when we meet them, say, oh, how come there's this problem? Actually, it all goes back to their understanding of the market. So we hope we can empower you with this new information, so that then you can, even without speaking to us, be able to understand better and then adjust your expectations accordingly. All right. Now, if you're new, like you said, new not just the webinar, and you're just thinking of just entering the landed market, right? Use the new knowledge, I think, to set more smarter, so you don't have to go through 2 months, 3 months of, let's say, try and error, right? Use this to set smarter and more, what we call market aligned goals for yourselves, okay? So there are a lot of indicators, like I said, from the overall market, and then we go down to a very, very deep analysis, then just pick out those that is the most relevant to you. Unlike we've been a lot of so-called consumers, a lot of the what do you call it, even agents as well. Sometimes they ask, they just want very simple yes and no answer. All right, simply, so should you buy now, sell later, etc., etc. I think this is not something that we think, number one, is realistic, or not very useful, because everything depends on the specific circumstance. Everything depends on the specific area that you're in, for example. So we will not be attempting to give you, oh, because you're, just now I say, buying a D20 semi-D, therefore you should enter the market now, etc. Right? Because there are many, many house-specific factors and personal factors involved. as well. So the best way to do this is to have a better understanding first. Actually, in fact, before we advise any client, we always want to have a first one-to-one discussion, right? To make us better understand what your needs, what are the reasons, your motivations, etc., etc. Of which many of this obviously cannot be specified in this webinar. Okay. Next is related to this, therefore, we need to conduct what we call a micro CMA. Okay, so industry term, something my team and I always use, a CMA, comparative market analysis of your house, a most immediate environment. If you're trying to sell, for example, now a semi-D again, right, in District 15, which part of District 15? Are you in the Katong area? Are you in the Siglap area? What kind of land size are you in? Are you a 3-story house, etc., etc.? Okay, we cannot just take one number and then therefore, oh, this is now 1,006 or 1,008 per square feet and use that to determine, all right, what is the optimal price, let's say, for your house. Okay, so a micro CMA is always important. And if you can, obviously, go to, if this webinar helps, I hope it does, use this, a lot of these reports later, you can screenshot, you can come to us, we can send you the report. Otherwise, if not, always go to a experienced landed agent, right, to provide you very customized guidance and solutions. I mean, like you've heard, we have sold 300 houses, more than 300 actually, and counting. But for every house we sell, there are probably another 3 to 4 more that we have actually helped and still in the process, or we did not succeed, for example, in closing. So there's a lot of decisions that are needed. And chances are, if you make a mistake in all this might be your first and only landed decision you'll make in a very, very long time. So we always advise you to be more cautious on this and take more time in understanding and analyzing, right, before you take any action. Okay, so far so good. Okay, feel free to share again your questions and everything inside the panelist chat group. So today's topics, we're going to talk about firstly the total landed market first, then like I said, the various sub-segments, all right, sub-segments of the market on the whole. How can you dissect the market? After that, part 2 will be the interesting thing. That's where I think when I mentioned the relevance, a lot of you will be looking at the specific district or specific region, or some of you might be open-minded. If that's the case, then you can basically listen. I think all the 4 parts that we're going to show you later will be very relevant to you. And then last but not least, we have 15 minutes of time, then we'll attempt to do some Q&A, all right? Most of the time, the questions come after that. So if you have some time, we really hope to engage in some more interactive session with all of you. Okay? Okay, so before I begin, disclaimer first, all this data are taken as at 10th of July, last Friday. It took us almost a week to compile all the data. We wish to take it as of today, but it's quite impossible and we don't want to delay this further, right? It's almost mid of the month. So just take note that numbers will run, meaning that there are some transactions that will still happen on the 11th or 12th that's not captured, right? But usually about 10 days or 2 weeks should be 90+% accurate as it is. All our data is derived from URI data. So frankly speaking, familiar URI data, a lot of this information that we have compiled in a very analytical manner, you can actually find the details via URA or SRX, okay? All right, so let's come to the main topic, all right, which is has the defiant market finally been tamed? Has any one of you thought why we chose this topic? Right, so those who are familiar before, if you've been following us, I think we started the year thinking actually that the market will slow down. Right, we think that the market will slow down in terms of volume, maybe a -10 or -20%. Volume, we did expect it to continue to increase, but by a more subdued, all right, numbers. So now this is midway, half year. So we thought it might be interesting for us to revisit this question again, all right? And unlike previous sessions where we concluded at the end, I'm going to give you the conclusion, right, in the next few slides. So starting with this, okay? This is the annual transaction volume for the last 4 years. Okay, with starting from 2019, just as a base for you to understand, before, of course, the pandemic, famous pandemic, you can see that prices then were just 1,300 plus. Okay, so all of you who come in and understand, and even agents, right? Even realtors, fellow agents are, come on, why are prices so expensive now, for example? Just now, my teammates and I were just talking about a lender client selling the house, going to buy a new launch. You know, all the new launches are 2,500 per square feet, etc. So this has grown a lot in the last 4 years. So double-digit growth the last 3 years, okay? And then you start to see this tapered off, okay, for the first half of 2024. Now it's at a plus 2.1%, which is within our initial estimate at the beginning of the year at about 3%. All right. So is this a sign of tapering off? Yes, definitely. All right. We're seeing prices still growing, but at a slower pace. So now hitting still at all-time high of $1,912 per square feet. Okay, this is still a record high. Okay, will we ever see 1,000 or 2,000 square feet soon? I think time will tell, right? Let's combine this with a transaction volume, which is represented by the bars, right? So if you see green means it has grown from the previous quarter, red it has declined from the previous quarter, right? Respectively. So if I put in the volume, you can see that what used to be an average of about 1,003 to 1,005, represented by 2019, okay, it has gone up by 67%, okay, between 2019 2020. It went up by, after that, okay, the peak was in 2021, almost double of the annual volume of 3,000 units. After that, it starts to go down, okay? The decline actually was from almost 2.5 years ago. Okay, 2.5 years ago, in 2022, we started decline to 1,006 units, and it half almost minus another 23% further in 2023. Now that's where we started and start to anticipate that. I think given how how Q4 was last year, I think the entire, if not the first half of this year, will be slow. All right. However, I think the last 6 months have proven us wrong, I must admit. That it has turned out to be much better than we expected, right? In fact, you see the first indicator of plus 20%, that was versus first half if we adjust for seasonality, right? Even if you compare this to Q3 and Q4, that means 6 months versus last year 6 months, it's still a plus 11%. So you can see that this is still in line with basically the last 3 years of growth. Okay, of course, bearing in mind it's a lower base, so to speak. Okay. So what does this mean? So has it been tamed? Okay, if we talk about price, yes. Okay, because the price growth has slowed to just 2.1%. All right. But in terms of volume growth, now this is keeping the demand very, very strong. Almost, we're talking about plus 3% year on year. All right. So for those who are in the market, if you're in the market since 6 months ago, or if you are have been looking since 6 months ago, you might be wondering, right? Given doesn't sound very a positive, a so-called optimistic prediction at the beginning of the year, even including a lot of global economic indicators as well. All right. Why has the landed market continued to grow? Okay. With this growth, it also means, okay, this is something that a lot of buyers were hoping that, oh, maybe 2024 will become a buyer's market. But right now, it's not so clear. While price has continued to increase, but I think you can see the volume has continue to go up. So obviously the seller's market is almost shifting, all right, but it's not so clear that it straight away is still a buyer's market, nor obviously is it a seller's market. Okay, so important things, what are contributing to the strong demand now? Some of this, I'm going to show you some indicators. Firstly is the stronger than expected economy. All right, this one, I think the report just came out today. I think now the MTI is actually expecting Singapore's growth to be closer to the 3%. The high end of the 1 to 3% estimation that they've done. Okay, so due to various better performances, okay, in various sectors of the economy. And yet, yeah, I think the second part will be a lot more familiar. I think a lot of you have been reading the papers that our other parts of the residential market, HDB, condo resale market, especially the high market, like the $1 million HDBs, your basically the high-end, super luxurious, more than $5 million condo market, they are all improving. Okay, so these are some of the familiar or more recent ones, just within the last, in fact, no, all these are just within this month, yeah. All right, just within the last 2 weeks. So you can see a lot of good news. So it comes as no surprise that has been reflected actually by the residential market, including the landed market. Okay, so of course, the question is that sufficient to bring about a growth of 2.1%? So one thing that we have seen, okay, these are some insights. You probably won't see this anywhere. I wish if there's any media reporters who can come to us, we can give you some exact numbers, right? Is that from our on ground, my team and I on the ground every day, right? Every day, we face buyers all the time when we represent sellers. We see actually more and more demand, all right? Surprisingly, I myself, I just sold a semi 5.3 million. All right. So you expect someone 5.3 million should be a terrace upgrader or a corner terrace upgrader, cluster, etc. But no, it comes from a HDB upgrader. right? HDB upgrader buying a $4 million property, sorry, $5 million property. Okay, this is not the first. In fact, we have seen estimated is more than 50%, right, increase in demand by the number of HDB and condo upgraders. How are they able to make this jump? All right, obviously a lot, what you may have known, if you are in the condo market now, if you have bought any of the, especially some of the new launches, for example, there's launched in 2019, 20, for example, right? A lot of them, they actually TOP'd last year, okay? TOP last year, they actually made a lot of profit, especially the large 3+ study, 4 beta and above. We have seen in the papers, easily $500,000. That plus the amount of a deposit that they put back. Actually, this amount can be put back into equity, right? To buy their first landed property. Of course, you're saying not everyone can buy a $5 million property, but understand that the landed market is very interlinked. So if there's an increase in demand, for example, from terraces, the terrace owners can, a portion of them, of course, some will downsize. They will actually upgrade into your bigger landed houses, so to speak, right? This is something in the past many years. By the way, Huttons Landed Division has been running for this group has been running for 10 years, right? I think it's only in the last 6 months that we see a lot of this buyers, purchasers coming from HDB and condo addresses. All right. Now, this is also something that is very obvious, I think, to us in the team, because we actually track not just the sold prices, we also track what are the asking prices in the market. So for those who have been working with us, if you are buyers now, go to any of the HLD lender consultant, I'm sure they have shown you the wide variety of our database, for example, more than almost 1,000+ houses inside. We're able to track, right, and see what the houses, the asking price. And not only that, we actually realized that many sellers, we dare to use the word most, more than 85% of them, okay, have actually reduced their price expectations by lowering their asking prices, okay, by lowering their asking prices. It's not that the price were low from the start, it's just that they were, from last year, I think a lot of people are still expecting the same kind of growth, right, based on last 3 years. So they projected the price. So they always price a future price. So, but instead of pricing it just 2 to 3% higher, they're pricing like 5%, 8%, and 10% higher. So a lot of these sellers, after they realize, oh, no, I think things are not moving, they start to reduce their price. And then that becomes then the gap between the buyers and the sellers start to be reduced, thereby resulting in more transactions this year. Okay. Now, this is to fellow agents. I know some of you are also following us as well, who don't feel the strong market, because you go around now, people are saying, no, this is slow, lender is also slow, etc. The reality is, it's not that it's slow, all right? It's just that the pie is now spread across more agents. And at the same time, by the way, there are also proportionally more sellers now as well, compared to last 3 years. Okay, so for every buyer out there, there's probably more houses for them to see. So it takes a lot longer compared to last 3 years when the volume is faster, all right? Now, last but not least is this question. It's quite a rhetorical one, which is, are all of you, right? All the stakeholders, like the buyers and sellers, of all house types in all locations, all sizes, all price frames, for example, affected similarly, right? The clear answer is obviously no, right? Obviously no, that is not, because later I'll so this plus 2.1 plus 20%, for example, it does not affect to all inter-terraces, for example, District 20, in District 19, it does not affect all the detached in District 11, etc. So they are not. That is why our webinar doesn't just stop here. And that's why for the next part of it, we are going much deeper into it. So that you will then better understand why is it that if despite, let's say, this price growth, why is it in a specific area? Why is the growth higher? Why is the asking price higher than better than usual? Or why is it that the volume in a particular area is not moving as fast? Okay, or for a particular type of house. Okay, with this will set a tone, okay, for the rest of the upcoming slides. Starting with what we've seen so far is basically the annual. All right, so this is the most updated Q2 transaction volume and value. So you can see my cursor here. So this is the same way the chart has been stated. So this Q2, you can see that price in Q2 has now gone up to 1919. All right, and it's a 1.4% increase versus Q1. Right, whereas for volume, it is a very strong growth, one of the strongest we've ever seen, almost 34%. Right, the last we've seen that was in Q2 of 2023, last year. Okay, is it a seasonality effect? Not really, because if you compare quarter to quarter, all right, it's still a 40% growth. Okay, so first highlight that for us to remember, whether you're a buyer or seller, value, All right, quarterly value has set a new record of 1919 per square feet, plus 1.4%, and volume grew very strongly by 34%. So the market is moving, right? The market is moving. So for buyers who are sitting on the fence thinking that you're one of the very rare buyers out there, generally, I'm telling you, it's not, right? My team, I think this month we already closed on seven units already, and we are just halfway into July. Okay. Next will be this semi-D versus terrace versus detached. Now, before I come to this part, maybe you can share with us, just hold on. Among the respondents here, could you share with us whether you are looking at terrace, semi-D, or detached house? Okay, whether you're buying or selling. Could you share with us what property type or what house type are you sharing with us? To see whether it firstly correlates with the national average, and also, I don't know, whether we can fine-tune our presentation later. Okay, generally, as you know, based on just supply, terrace make up the majority, right? But let's see, based on today's, okay, it's quite surprising, the numbers. We have here, hold on, numbers are jumping. I really expect more terraces. Now, terrace is 33%, semi-D is 44%, and detached is 22%. Let me just screenshot this and see whether we can. All right. Okay, so actually there's a lot more detached buyer or seller here, and semi-D is forming the bulk. Okay, and pull. Can you all see the results if I show here? Can you all see results? Okay, right? Okay, right. So this is the results. So we're quite surprised that actually more semi-Ds and detached. So maybe our terrace stakeholders are getting smarter or more used to us. But nonetheless, let's see where you stand. Okay. So now this is the national average, okay, of the based on the number of transactions. You can see detached forming only 12%, semi-D is 31%, and then we have terrace at 57%. All right, almost forming the bulk. How did these three types of houses fare island-wide, right? Island-wide. So let's take a look. So you can see here, again, focusing on the right side, you will see first by volume. Remember just now was at 34%. So among which semi-D actually grew the fastest at 43%. Terrace is about the national average, and detached is slightly lower at 24%. Okay, so that's on volume, nothing surprising. They're more or less in line, so to speak. Now, that's where the value is where it comes a bit interesting, because with a national average of 1.4% just now, semi-D, the one that's the most popular, actually see a drop of minus 1.1%. Now, which is dependent on, which is affecting which? Is it because the price has dropped, therefore there's more transactions, or is it vice versa? All right. Same thing as well, you see detached price actually inching upwards, now close to 1,009 per square feet. Is that what is causing the volume to drop? Number of buyers are sitting by. All right. And then terrace is a bit more average, so to speak. But what is important to see about the terrace is that now, remember this number, 2008, easy to remember. It has crossed $2,000 per square feet for the first time in history, right? Average island-wide, right? Whether you're 99, freehold, etc. Okay. So with these house types, all grew in volume, okay, by double digit. But terrace and detached set a new price record, all right? But semi-D declined in value by about 1.1%. Okay. Right, next will be freehold versus versus double nine, pardon me. All right, I'm sure most of you are freehold 999 seekers or sellers, right? But bearing in mind, however, that actually 99-year properties make up almost 20%, right? So it's significantly larger than what a lot of people think, in a sense. It's getting more popular than what is being perceived in the market. So based on this, let's take a look at a freehold versus 99. All right, freehold 999. It represents the bulk of the market. Okay, it has crossed 2,000 per square feet already. The price has gone up by 4% and volume dropped by 34. Sorry, it has increased by also 34%. Not surprising, this is more than 80% of the market. Now, 99 years, let's take a look. 99 years reported a very strong growth in 2000 in quarter one. All right, if you can see here, this is the peak ever. But after understanding, you break this down, actually, this is due to a particular launch in District 28, right? Poland Collection, for those who are familiar. There's a 99-year brand new landed development. right? It moved in volumes, almost 15 to 20 units every quarter. So that has actually resulted in a spike in the average. So now it's almost kind of back to normal. It's still at 1,004. Again, gone are the days where you expect 1,000 or less than $1,000 per square feet for 99. Okay. All right. So value has dropped, but volume has continued to increase by, in fact, stronger than national average of 36%. So, right, so it grew strongly in value volume, but 99 grew even more stronger in volume, but declined in value, right? But declined in value. So next will be resale versus new. This will be a more skewed so-called segmentation of the market, because the majority of the market, we're talking almost what, 96%, is looking at resale properties, and then we have 4% that are based on new ones, right? Looking at new ones. So new ones are unlike condos where they build in what, 500 units, 1,000 units, or 300 units, for example. So we are talking mainly about individual, maybe it's a pair of semi-detached, etc. So naturally, they don't form, they are not produced in abundance, so to speak, right? So for resale houses, again, like the Freehold 999, since they made up, this one is even more than than just now the 81% you saw. Okay, this one is 1.2% and 37% respectively. All right, so this is resale houses usually from the bulk and channel the main market's direction. New houses, which has seen a lot of fluctuations in the last many quarters due to, again, like I mentioned, due to the type of launches, there's been a marketed, okay, there's a sold. Just now I mentioned Poland collection is one end of the spectrum, because a lot of new launches now that you see in the market easily just search, right? A lot of them are like more than $3,000 per square feet. In fact, if I take up Poland collection from here, which makes up about 60-70% of all the launches, actually the average price is about 2,006, right? 2,006 per square feet. Okay, still it is a growth of 8.7%. Volume is almost flat. Okay, so we are looking for new houses now. I will suggest later in the various districts, take a look at some of the very specific examples, because they really are the niche within the niche, because there are not many brand new landed houses available for sale, and the prices will differ, right? Next will be this, okay, new concept. If you're new to us, so we're going to introduce this concept called core versus non-core districts. Okay, you have never heard this. This is almost a HLD, so Huttons Landed Division's term. How we do this is, coin this is basically we select 11 districts, okay, namely 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, etc., up to 28, which will all be elaborated later, right? This actually forms 83% of all transactions. We call them the core districts. And then we have the non-core, which are mainly situated or located in the far-flung or more less accessible, or they call it CCRs, for example. All right, like for example, your Sembawang area, your Pasir Ris area, Jurong, etc. All right. Otherwise, the rest will form the core districts. It will be a lot clearer for us to have a better understanding, especially if you are looking at the core or the non-core. Okay. Now, this is a big chart with many numbers, so I'm going to pause for a while to just let you see. Explain to you first. Top is basically the period duration. So we have here the central region, followed by west, followed by east region, and northeast. Okay. This is the transaction volume growth. We saw that it's 30+% growth. So many districts have grown except for 13 and 20. Later, I'll let Sean and also Jason explain. Okay. But here we start to group them up into the various regions. The numbers becomes a lot interesting or more clearer. All right. So central region actually grew much faster, followed by west, east, followed by east region. And then this is where the core districts and non-core districts come in. And we see quite surprisingly, the districts or the areas that are pushing actually the volume growth is actually not in the core district in the last quarter. Okay, you can see that non-core districts have grown by 73%. Although being small, but the percentage increase is actually quite large, or is larger than the core districts. Okay, why is this so? The next slide may give you some answer. Now let's take a look at value, right? The same value. Just now we saw it's a 1 plus 3% increase. So what is the average that you see so far? On the right side, before I go to this right side, okay, you can see there's a bit more variations as compared to transaction volume. So most have increased. In fact, a lot have shown double-digit increase, like District 10, District 21, 13, etc. 4 districts have actually reported a decline, which is 11, right? District 23, District 14, and 19. Right? Why so? Later, my various colleagues, the district ICs will explain to you later. Right? But here I want to bring your attention to core districts, right? Actually, core districts, despite the drop, or not drop, relatively drop in the volume, okay, compared to the non-core districts, actually the value actually pushed higher. So now, again, we are closing to the $2,000 per square feet, all right, 1978. If you look at the non-core, all right, it's actually, the growth is marginal. It remains at almost a mid-1650 per square feet, 0.4%. Right, whereas the volume has actually gone up. So this could be one reason. So a lot might find the core district, some buyers, or it has shown more the buyers have actually find maybe the core districts less affordable, less what do you call it, say, yeah, affordable, or they find it out of their budget, so to speak, and they start to explore outer areas, right? Resulting in the rise in the, you can see the disparity in the price. If you go to the core districts, almost 2,000 per square feet, whereas non-core, you still get a house for about 1,006. Okay, so core districts lead the price growth to a new record, whereas the non-core districts grew significantly more in volume, right? More in volume than in that. Now, next will be another interesting sub-segment, which is strata landed. Now, to which I need to first highlight that all the numbers that you saw earlier are basically based on landed, right? Landed properties with landed titles. We don't actually include strata landed inside. But if you were to understand what does this part of strata landed occupies, okay, actually they constitute about 16%, right? Quite similar to your 99 year landed, which is 119, almost 20%. So they still constitute quite a big part of the transaction volume, okay? So from here, let's take a look at how it has performed. Now, if you remember some of the few charts earlier, this is easily one of the so-called poorest performers in terms of both volume and value, all right? Although it's quite marginal for value, it's most flat. It crossed $1,000 per square feet for 2 quarters in the last 2 years. And after that, now it's back to hovering around 900 plus per square feet. Okay, volume has also surprisingly dropped. In fact, it's the only sub-segment that has actually dropped in terms of volume. Okay, so if you are, again, we ask about any of these charts, by the way, later my colleagues and I, my teammates and I would like to also make it relevant to you to ask you is, if you are now a strata landed seller, we're trying to sell yours now, and you experienced in the last quarter, things are getting a bit slow, I hope this will give you some assurance. Yes, it is slow, all right? In fact, the whole market has actually gone down in terms of so the demand and transactions, all right? Any questions so far? Okay, if not, let's go to, I think, easily one of our favorite slides, because this is after we've come up with a way to actually understand this market in terms of price beyond the PSF, right? PSF was chosen instead of median price that some of the media choose to use, because we find that it's a lot easier for you to understand. Because we can ask you the price, so-called Terrace based on median price, because then you don't take into account the land size, for example. So PSF was chosen. But how about average price, right? So that's where buyers, you out here, will then come in. Let me just show you this. Now, this chart, again, if you're looking at this for the first time, let me just guide you through. You have Q1 results here, Q2 results here. On top, of course, left are all the various districts. You have the average price and average size. So I take a look at District 10, for example. Okay, this is how you should read it. So District 10 in last quarter, the average transacted price is 11.3 million. Yes, average price of a transaction in District 10 is 11.3. This quarter is 11.1. All right, so therefore the average price have gone up. Oh, there might be some calculation error here. It should be a decline on this side. And the size, can you see, is 5,004. It goes down to 4,006. So the price have gone down. Okay, so if you take a look, so if you understand how this works, I'm going to show you the bigger number first, which is total Singapore now. An average price of a landed property in last quarter, Q1, was 5.7 million. This has dropped to 5.6 million, a drop of minus 1.1%. Okay, and the average size, what used to be 3,002, in Q2, the average size of a transacted unit is now about 3,000 square feet. So the size has dropped as well. Okay, the price has dropped as well. So this is actually consistent with what we analyzed and what we tried to predict in the first quarter as well. I think affordability is going to be an issue. People are going to be more and more wary to seek value for money. And by one of the ways is to look for smaller. It's still a landed, it's still probably still a semi, but it's a slightly smaller one. All right, so such that the overall price will be reduced, okay, though marginally. Now, if you look at the core districts, okay, you can see that despite just now the rise in PSF, actually, even in the core districts, it was 5.9. Now it's still at 5.9. It's actually almost a drop of 1%. And the average size has dropped by about 6%. Okay. And others, just now we saw, in fact, actually, we thought the price have gone down. Actually, no, despite there's a difference in terms of PSF, 1,006 and 1,009. But relatively, okay, the average price is actually only 4.6 million. But it's still a very high increase, a 14% increase versus the last quarter, right? And the size, people are also buying larger units in the non-core districts as well, almost 3,000 square feet. You can see the size now is almost same. Previously, it was 3,003 and 2,006. Okay, so this kind of like balancing out. The market is moderating in ways that we did not even think about until we start to analyze the numbers. Okay, I think every individual action, transaction, decision made has resulted in what we see now on the charts, and it's very consistent, I think, with the insights, with the feedback that we've gotten from a lot of consumers over the past days, weeks, and months, obviously the entire quarter. Okay, so every size, every price, they both declined. All right, smaller and lower quantum houses were transacted. Okay, just hold on, let me show you this slide. Smaller houses, pardon me, and lower quantum houses were transacted, right? Except collectively just now that we saw in the non-core districts. Okay, non-core districts have actually seen an increase in that. Okay, now the next way that we can decipher or to dissect the market is in terms of price range. Of course, you tell me, Billy, I come in, yeah, I would like to buy a semi-D, but my budget is under 5 million or 5 to 10 million, for example. Or you come in and say, no, I have a price range, I have a budget for 5 to 6 or 8 to 10, for example. You're open to all types. So to better understand this, again, let's have this very simple, quick poll to see which part, just now we have understanding, we had quite a surprise that there are more detached stakeholders, all right, than we thought. So let's take a look. Based on what you're doing now, you are thinking of doing now, right? Whether you're buying or selling, could you just share with us what is the price range that you're looking at? And will you be interested to know how can we dissect the market into this 3, if not more, price range? Okay, let's see whether we see more in the above 10 million since there are more detached buyers here, yeah? Okay, just now what was the number for detached? 20-something%, right? So now we have above 10 million is 19%. Okay, more than 10 million is about 70% now. Under 5 million will form the bulk, is 52% and 31%. Let me see whether I can launch this poll. Okay, can you see? All right, right, 52, 31, and 17%. Okay, good, because then the next slide, please focus on the next slide, because this is going to be quite interesting. Like I said, nobody does this to the extent that we do, and we hope this brings you some value, all right? So does this correspond to what we saw? Not really. I think we have a very affluent crowd today, I think, right? So above 10 million actually in the market now, average is about 9% only, whereas we have more than almost more than 15% just now, 17%, right? And then 5 to 10 million is about 30%, and below 5 million is 61%. Okay, this is based on Q2 results. So what does this mean to you? Okay, this is a new chart, new slide. If this is first time, I'm going to pause for a while to let you understand. On the left side will be the price range. All right, I've grouped actually under 5 million can be further split down into by million mark, all right, below 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, etc. Then you have the 5 to 10 million, between 5 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and then the above 10 million mark. Okay, then at the top, of course, you have the 2 quarters, and you have average price. The first time we introduced this, there's no volume. Now I'm going to put the volume in as well. All right, we're going to put the volume in. Again, many numbers. First, take a look at the price range that you're looking at. Let's say you're now at the, let me choose this, right? 6 to 8 million mark. So first, the price is at this point, actually 6 to 8 million, especially with 7 million, you'll be very comfortable because the average price is actually 6.8. But this quarter has gone up to 6.9. So the price has gone up by 2%. All right, are you following this? Okay, average size normally for this range, transacted property is about 3,008 square feet. This quarter has gone up to 3,009 square feet. Price, the size have gone up by 4%. Okay, the volume now, this is quite interesting, plus 41%. Okay, I'm just using the 6 to 8 million as an example. Is that clear? All right, I won't go through every line. Okay, but if you can start to see this, and with the red and the blue, Can you start to see certain patterns? Okay, first pattern, let's see first. First, let's take a look at average size. Do you notice that under $5 million, we actually see an increase in the average price? Average size. Okay, under 5 million, the increase. All the blues are here. And next, anything above $8 million, actually the size have decreased, which is quite interesting, which means that people who are under $5 million, they're buying bigger and bigger properties in terms of land size. All right. Whereas those above $8 million, maybe the money is a bit more stretched despite a higher budget, that the average size have reduced quite considerably, if you ask me, and quite consistently across all the different price points. Okay, so this is, therefore, we say average price have declined, except for the under $5 million. Otherwise, the rest have all basically declined. Okay, clear so far? Right. Next, if you're going to another pattern that we saw. Average price, less much of a surprise. So you see a bit of plus, minus, but they're all single digit, right? All single digit. So we don't see much fluctuation in this, especially over just one quarter. So for example, the below 3 million is still about 2.4 million. If you get a 10 million one, it's still about 10.8 million, etc., etc. Okay, so we won't go too deep into this. Now the next is in terms of volume. All right, volume is quite interesting if I were to classify. So maybe before I show this, which among these three price groups, okay, do you think is the most popular or were transacted the most? If you have a few seconds, think about, maybe you're thinking maybe it's under 4 million, etc. Right? Obviously, you have some hints here already. Like 48%. Can you see 20 to 50 million is the biggest growth? You're not surprised because you've seen a lot of GCB transactions reported in the papers, for example, right? But if I were to group everything together, the 10 million and above is actually plus 18%. Okay. At the bottom is plus 32%, right? That means the under 5 million is plus 32%. It's quite close to the market. The segment that has grown the most, if you remember that national average is about 34%, is actually the 5 to 10 million, right? Which is almost 50% growth. So we have more people in this price range, 5 to 10 million, that has so-called purchased properties or landed transacted properties in the last quarter. Okay, so you can see here, 5 to 10 million houses are the most popular. Below 5 million grew the most, and the more than 10 million house sizes declined the most, as indicated, right, in the previous chart. Okay, clear so far? Any questions? We see any chats, etc. Okay, our participants have grown up. Thank you. All right. Is that the end to how we can analyze the market? Obviously not, right? Obviously not. What I've given so far, yes, there's many ways to dissect it, but it's still on a national level. All right. So whether we're talking about semi-detached, is across all regions. If I talk about the 5 to 10 million, it's across all regions, etc. Now, what's going to get very exciting is this part two, the more insightful part, which is by the various districts. And we're going to start, we're going to segment the market by 4 regions. Okay, so you can see we're Central, East, Northeast, and West. So today we're going to start with Central region, 10 and 11, all right, followed by the rest. So with this, I should invite, again, these are my team of, this is the management team within Huttons Land Division, all right? Please remember their names, numbers. You can always look for them or look for the consultants who are actually working together with them. They are my experts in this respective districts, okay? Of which will be the first to start on Central region, who will share the 5 main highlights. But before I go into that, I think those who have followed our webinars will be happy to know that we have, for the first time, revamped, okay, the content for this part 2 of the analysis, all right? What is the revamp like? Those who have followed us, I think we see the difference. If not, I hope then if you're a first timer, we'll find the next few slides of each district a bit more refreshing, insightful, and easier to understand. Okay, so Will, over to you.
Thank you, Willie. So today I'm going to bring you the insights of District 10 and followed by 11. So let's dive into the numbers. So right now, today we have actually reorganized the whole flow into this category A, B, C, D, and E. So let's take a look at category A at a glance. So from what you see in D10, you will see there's more transaction this time out in Q2 compared to Q1 2024, with an 80% jump compared to the Q1 itself. And the average price increased by a 6% from the originals of 11.7 last quarter, and this quarter round we are going up to 12.4 mil, and with an average PSF growth that increased quite significantly, based on the previous quarter of $2,003 niche to 2,510 in PSF, in terms of PSF. And of course, to zoom in into more detailed bite size for the different house type, we got the terrace, semi-detached, as well as GCB, of which in D10 you will see that the terrace isn't performing that well compared to the last quarter. It's mainly due to there is more brand new houses that's being transacted in Q1 2024, while terrace house type while terrace in 202 this quarter too, we will say in generally the resales or the older house type. Yeah, so in terms of price, it dropped by more than 30%, and in terms of PSF also it declined by 26.3, and the number as shown 5.7 and average PSF of 2486 PSF. And of course, like what Billy had mentioned, semi-D experienced a very strong increase in terms of price and PSF. So this actually reflects in D10, where average price increased by 6.3% from the previous 7.8 million to today's 8.28, and PSF also increased about another $200 niche in total PSF compared to Q1. So bringing the PSF increase by a 10%, more than 10%, which is close to 10.6. And for detached, was quite surprisingly, it performed better than all the house type right here in D10. So you will see a big jump of close to 30%, okay, from 13.9 million to 17.8. And for PSF, a big jump from originally 2,379 PSF to today's 2,874 PSF. So a big close to 21% in terms of growth for PSF. And of course, GCB, I would say as GCB moderate, okay, you will see an average price hovering between, the price still increased by close to 8%, but I would say the price have moderate right now. Being said so, some of the GCB sellers are much more realistic in terms of price. This actually entice buyer to come back into the market compared to the 2023, where you see there is there's quite only a small amount of GCB that's being transacted here compared to this quarter. If you go to compare 2021, 2002, compared to Q1, Q2 of 2023 versus Q1 and Q2 of 2024. So PSF also see a significant increase by 13.4, bringing the average price to $2,400 per square. So this is a record-setting transactions. Again, we are going to highlight the lowest quantum, in terms of price, the lowest quantum in terms of PSF. So you will see this roof drive in the terrace unit that is transacted at only 5.15 million. Okay, where the by the way, these are all freehold and 999 property. We did not reflect the leasehold property house type, okay, landed house type. So for the this detached house, we did the GCBA of 5th Avenue with a long driveway, happened to be having the lowest PSF of slightly below 1,005. Okay, so next we come up to the highest quantum and the highest PSF. So for highest quantum, we got this at Cluny Hill that transacted at 52 million. And this semi-D, brand new semi-D at Princess of Wales that has sold at a 3,750 3755 PSF. Next, for trends and their let's dive into this next segment, which is the price range. So you will see so for Q1, you will see an average price for ranging between the 8 million to more than 20 million. But this time round, with prices, I would say Q2, price have somehow rather stagnant within the 8 to 20 million. But you will see more houses that's transacted between the more than 20 million mark. So a slight significant increase of 5% compared to quarter one. Next is in terms of PSF. So as mentioned, there's more houses crossing the $3,000 PSF mark. Okay. And quarter one, you will see prices ranging from 1,007 PSF to not slightly below $2,600 PSF. But this time round, you will see the PSF, in terms of PSF, jump for quarter two at an average, starting from an average of 2,200 to across the $3,000 mark. Okay. So if you want more detailed analysis, do approach any of your landed consultant who have engaged you guys over, or if not, you can approach any of us. And next, we'll call it the hot buy listings. So currently on hand, we got a couple of interesting property that you might be interested. We got this at Mount Sinai View, a Terrace that is calling for 5.5 million, not too far away from the average, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, this corner terrace with a size of a detached, okay, at a attractive PSF of 1,836. Next, a beautiful semi-D at Namli, okay, asking at only 8.48 million, while we also have this detached home on hand. Pretty generous in terms of land size of a 6,400 square feet, calling for 15.88 million. So if you want more intel or with address, do contact your consultant, your landed consultant who have engaged you guys over to this webinar, or approach us. Next, we are going to jump into D11. Okay, quite similar. The glance, I mean, the few points that I mentioned earlier. So you will see D11 being said so, it has performed at a 31% increase in terms of units sold, compared to quarter one. And the average price have increased significantly to more than 26%, from previously 9.3 million to today's 11.8 million. But PSF has slightly decreased a bit by, quite a fair bit, by 9.4% from the previous $2,724 PSF to today 2,467 PSF. So again, dive into an individual house type. This time around, quarter two, we do not see any GCB house type that's being transacted. Hence, I did not mention anything about it. But in terms of price for Terrace house, it increased by a significant of 9.6%, which brings an average price to 6.66 million, while PSF declined significantly by close to 50 or 45.3 million, but 45.3% at 2,437 PSF, a big drop compared to previous Q1, mainly due to there are more brand new house type that's being sold. And of course, the average semi-D still show a significant increase in terms of price and PSF. For semi-D here, it increased by more than 25% from the previous 7.64 million to today's 9.58 million. And the PSF also increased by 6.2, coming up to today's, at $2,639 per square, and detached, a significant jump at more than, close to 16% at 15.8 million, and PSF somehow declined at, so today, compared to quarter one, 2,772 to today, 2,375 PSF. Okay, same thing. So some of the lowest quantum, we just happen to have this particular unit at Greenwood Avenue, was sold at only 2.25 at 1,387 PSF. This unit could be probably selling to someone who they know, or a change hand just sold to their relative also, or just where they do decoupling. So this thing caught our radar. We just highlight. Yeah, if everybody know of this, I think we ourselves will also jump in and buy immediately. So the highest quantum for D11 is this unit at Darkiff Road. So it's transacted at 24.8 million, highest quantum. And in terms of the highest PSF is this Terrace that has sold for 3,651 PSF. So let's dive in further to the numbers. So this time round, I would say buyers, or rather said seller, are adjusting their expectation. So this actually leads to the increase in terms of buyers coming into the market, to purchase, to make their purchase. So previously, the highest PSF was about, we were starting from 2006. This time round, the lowest PSF, sorry, the lowest PSF this time round at quarter two was at 2005. Yeah, but again, you will see most of the houses here still transact around 3,000, more than 3,000. Okay, sorry. Okay, so in terms of average price, you will see a slightly decrease in Q2, but hence this is due to seller adjusting their price expectation. But you will also see houses that transact more than 20 million. Yeah, you will see two houses in particular, but you will see bulk of the number actually hover between the 10 to 15, less than 15 million in D11. Yeah, this is mainly the detached house type or some semi-D that's being transacted here in D11. So again, analysis, if you need more data on D11, do approach your landed consultant. And of course, some of the hot buy that we have, unit that we are selling, one at Jalan Adat, quite classic, quite charming. Yeah, this two-story terrace house is going for 6.25 million, whereas another terrace that we have, which is close proximity, 1 km to both Nanyang Primary School as well as Raffles Girls, asking for 6.488 million. And if you are a buyer who is looking for good size detached near good school, another house is at Shafford, land size of 4,113 square feet, calling for 12 million, negotiable. And of course, the next one is a detached home that Harlin asking for 17.18 million. So these are the listing that we have for D11. Yep. So next, I'm going to hand over to District 21 and 23, Cedric Briggs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cedric. So I will be going through the West region, District 21 and 23. So let's first dive into 21. These are the regions, the sub-regions of D21, which we've mentioned many times. So at a glance, what is going to happen is right now we take a look at, okay, so for 21, right, it looks as though the numbers is pretty large, pretty huge, but don't be scared by this because previous quarter there were only 6 transactions. So for District 21, disclaimer first, District 21, 23, district being small, and in terms of transactions, they are lesser. So a little bit of a movement, right? You tend to have huge swing in terms of percentage points and PSF and price points. So this is just for you to note when we talk about the West region, West District houses, all right? So there are more activities of 67% increase in terms of transactions. Previously was just 6. This round there are 10 transactions. So just to give you an idea, what does the 67% increase mean, right? Okay, so the average price has increased by a whopping 77.1%. Why this is due to the fact that in Q2 itself, there were 4 transactions that were above 10 mil, whereas previous quarter, the average is about 5-6 million. So thereby it caused such a huge swing in terms of the percentage point when it comes to average pricing. And then the average PSF, it's an increase of 11.3% from 1,700 to about 1,900 PSF, right? Now, point B, we talk about what does this mean to you as a seller or buyer. So first, take a look at the Terrace house. The average price increased by 10%. So basically, you're looking at about 4.5 mil. The Q2 right now, the transactions are hovering around an average of 5 mil. PSF wise, has also seen increment by about 8.3% from 2,100 PSF to about 2,300 PSF. Well, semi-D wise, the jump is more significant. There's an increase in terms of average price by 5.7%. I mentioned earlier in the previous slide, there are 4 in Q2, there are 4 transactions that were above 10 million, 2 of which are semi-Ds. So that's why you see the figure right now, the average price increased by 57%, 2 of which are contributed by 2 semi-Ds that were transacted above 10 mil, right? So thereby the average price has increased quite significantly. So from 4.5 mil average to about 7.1 mil in average. PSF wise, they've also seen a significant jump, okay, from 1,400 PSF to about 1,800 PSF, right? Detached house, so 4 transactions above 10 mil, 2 of which are detached houses, but in previous quarter, there weren't any detached transactions. So we can only tell you that the 2 transactions in Q2, the average price of the 2 detached house transacted were averaging about 15 mil. And the average PSF is about 1,834 PSF. Now, these 2 were transacted within Sunset Estate, Sunset Enclave. So the PSF wise, if we look at PSF, is quite accurate, reflecting the house transaction for detached houses in quite consistent in Sunset area. There were no GCB transactions, so nothing to talk about. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we're going to talk about the record-setting transactions. First, the lowest transaction in District 21 goes to this number 40 Chunting Road. It's a terrace house sold for 4.1 million. Gone are the days where houses like this, low-rise, single-level, old house, single-story, were transacted below. Gone are the days if you're trying to look for old terrace house in D21 for houses, especially Chunting area, that are below 4 million. It used to be 2.9, still can find like probably one couple of years ago, but right now the lowest transaction is 4.1 million right now. Okay, and the lowest PSF went to this 95 Wagon Avenue. It's a semi-D. Yeah, so this was one of the semi-D we mentioned just now. Okay, above 10 mil. So it was sold for 11.6, but the per square foot wise, because of a huge land size, 8,000 plus square feet, the PSF is pretty cheap, I would say. It's only 14.25 PSF. All right. Okay, and then next, let's talk about the highest transacted transactions, in Q2 for D21. 19 Clementi Crescent takes a cake for 18.8 mil. This is a fairly new detached house, very modern. No lift though, comes with a pool, but you look at the land size, 9,400 per square feet. Okay, It went for 18.8 mil. So for Q2, this was the highest transaction. So 4 transactions, this was one of them as well, above 10 mil. All right, this was the highest. And okay, the highest PSF goes to consistently for D21, goes to this Kismis Residences unit at number 2 Engkong Terrace. For District 21, whenever there's transaction in this Kismis Residences, right, this particular estate, they always transact at the highest PSF because they have terrace houses, but it has pool, it has lift, and they are fairly new, about 6 years plus right now, and so more or less moving condition, and people do not mind splurging, paying higher PSF for this living condition terrace house, right? Deeper dive, look at the interesting trends and their implications. So first, look at the price range. The most popular price range for this quarter are the houses, majority of which are transacted within the 4 mil to 8 mil range. Okay, so most of them are the semi-Ds within this range for District 21. Okay, and then we look at the per square foot. Okay, look at the above 2,000 square feet transactions. So they have basically increased from 34% to 60%. That means more than half of the transactions in Q2 were all transacted above 2,000 PSF. So when it comes to D21 to look for houses, you need to be mentally prepared that the prices are calling above 2,000, which and that can be the norm, right? Okay, once again, if you like more details, deeper analysis, feel free to approach any of us or the consultants that has invited you to this webinar. Okay, last point for D21, the hot listings. We like to interest you with this Chun Ting Road Terrace. This house I've personally seen before. I've gone inside, brought a buyer in. It comes with a lift. It's 100% moving condition. Huge land plot, terrace house of almost 2,000 square feet. Okay, 100% moving condition. As you know, Chun Ting is very popular because of its proximity to the shopping mall, the upcoming Beauty World transformation. A lot of things are happening there right now. So it's getting pretty popular. The calling price right now is 6.9 mil. Okay. And then if you're looking for a semi-D that you want to rebuild, that can be converted to a detached house, to be developed into a detached, we have this listing at Sian Tuan Avenue. Okay. Good land size, detached size, so it can be broken away to be a detached, asking 10 mil right now. Okay. This is at Sian Tuan area. And if you're looking for something new, a semi-D that is brand new, you don't need to do much. You can just pack your suitcase and move in. We have a Jalan Selanting, which is slightly further up from Jurong Kechil area. This semi-D, land size of 2890, calling for 8.2 mil. Comes with pool and comes with lift, right? It's brand new, gonna TOP end of this year. Okay, and if you're looking for a good size detached house in Hua Guan area, we have also something at this Hua Guan detached house calling for 12.5 mil. It comes with a pool, indoor pool actually, very interesting house. Land size of 4,700, calling for 12.5 mil. Of course, all prices are negotiable, right? Okay, this is a summary of the listings that we have in District 21 in our database. Next, we'll dive into D23. D23 comprising of all these sub-regions that's highlighted here. Okay, and the points that we're going to bring across. So at a glance, for D23, they are more active with 14% increase in transactions. So previous quarter was 14 transactions. This quarter we have 16 transactions, right? So the average price dropped by 21.5%. Now this was mainly due to why 21% is because in Q1 there was a GCB transaction in Q1. D21, D23 both have a GCB houses. So there was a GCB in Q1 that was being transacted. That's why, because of that, it caused the price, and no GCB in this quarter, it caused the price to have an average price significant drop from average 4.22 to now average of 3.31 mil. Average PSF though increased by 1.6%. All right. Now okay. one thing I need to highlight, this increase, this is Willie's charge stated as dropped by 9% because for this average PSF, I took out some outliers transaction, which is transaction in sub-district classified as others are not taken into consideration because they always tend to skew the figures in D23, and those are the houses that are at Jalan Uji, Jalan Asas area that the lease is only down to like 20 years. So that's why we chose to take those transactions out in our tabulating for this overview for you. Right. So what does this mean for you as a buyer or seller? Average terrace price. There were no detached. Firstly, there were no detached or GCB transaction this quarter, so nothing to talk about. So there were only terrace and semi-Ds. The average price increase for terrace was by about 6.5% from 308 mil to about 328 mil. Average PSF though dropped about slightly to by 6.7%. Okay, and very quickly the semi-D price dropped by 2.95%. Okay, so overall not too significant in terms of the semi-D movement in terms of average price at PSF. So seems like stabilizing. All right. So once again, for the semi-D, the sub-district classified under others are not taken into consideration. All right. Then the chart toppers are lowest transacted price in Q2 goes to 22 Jalan Gumilang, Hillview area. This terrace house, naturally terrace house. Yeah, once again, the chart toppers, 99-year leasehold properties are not taken into consideration, only the freehold and the 999 ones. So lowest was 3.525 mil, and the lowest in terms of PSF was this at 8 Hong San Walk. Hong San Walk is just a very small landed enclave. Consistently, the houses there, if you're looking for a cheap buy, yeah, Hong San Walk is a place to consider because their prices are always pretty reasonable. Freehold, by the way, freehold small enclave near Choa Chu Kang. Okay, lowest PSF is 1283. Next. Okay. Highest transacted price goes to this Cashew Crescent corner terrace at 4.8 mil, right? And the highest PSF consistently, just like District 21, Kismis residence, always highest transacted PSF. For D23 is consistently always Pavilion, all right? 2415 PSF. Freehold, by the way, yeah, at only 3.9 for terrace house. All right, so these are the chart toppers. Next. Okay, deeper dive. Okay, in terms of price range wise, you realize the most popular price range are all those transacted. This time round, this quarter, they were all transacted within this bracket, all 16 transactions. Okay, from under 2 mil all the way to highest is below 5, just right below under 5 mil. Okay, for this quarter. So as I mentioned before, if you've attended a previous webinar, District 23 are for upgraders or for those looking for entry-level landed property. So District 23 is really the district to consider, all right, if you're looking for your first landed properties, okay, because it's more palatable compared to the central district, all right. And then in terms of the PSF transaction above 1400 PSF. Why I choose 1400? Because 1400 onwards are the freehold and the 999 ones. Okay, transaction above 1400 have increased from 43% to 58%. Okay, for this quarter, right? So if you're looking for freehold 999, then you need to know that the average PSF will be 1400 PSF upwards. Okay, anything lower than 1400, they are mostly the 99-year leasehold. Okay, so if you need more info, do feel free to approach any of us. Okay, the hot listings we want to whet your appetite on, some of which are okay. Firstly, the Terrace at Phoenix Rise. Okay, this terrace house, it's going for land pretty sizable, 2,100 square feet. Okay, going for 4.1. Okay, and then for 99-year leasehold, we have this Burgundy Crescent semi-detached. Okay, going for about 3.2 mil. Okay, both pretty original condition, needs a bit of TLC, and this one is very interesting. The detached house at Phoenix Garden. All right, this is a 6,200 square feet detached house, and it's really a bargain. Okay, it's only going for 7.5 mil at a PSF of 1,200. This is really almost unheard of nowadays. Okay, so if you're interested, if buyer, do feel free, buyer looking for cheap detached house, feel free to approach any of us. Last but not least, okay, this is a boutique GCB at Chestnut Close. Okay, very interesting, something like a bachelor pad GCB. Okay, almost 9,000 square feet in terms of land and going for 14.88 million. Okay, come and have a look at this very interesting GCB. All right, and it comes with a pool as well. Okay, so that's all I have for you. Sorry, last but not least, these are the summary of the listings that we have in D23. Once again, if you're interested to find out more, do feel free to approach any of us. Next, I shall hand the time to Jason, who will go through District 13 with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindric. Yeah, okay. Let me start with this side D13. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. Okay, one of the main highlights for D13 now we have at a glance on the overall transaction. Actually, we see a decline in 14% for D13. I think one of the main decline mainly come from detached. Detached mainly there's a sharp drop from the detached. And on the average price wise, we are seeing also a drop in the price of about close to 32%, mainly come from the vertical terrace as well as semi-D. Yeah, and on the average price increase, 14%. These are all mainly from the terrace. Next, what you see on the B side for the buyer and seller, what does this mean for you? On average, as you can see, the terrace price is actually decline, while the PSF in contrast actually go up. Yeah, one of the main decrease on the price because this mainly come from MacPherson Estate and the Garden Estate, mainly for the smaller terrace, less than probably 1,005 square feet, where the price is actually lesser. On the other side, because of the PSF, which is very small, so you can see when the actually transacted, the PSF goes higher. So that's why you can see there's an increase on the PSF, about 22%. As for semi-D, both the price as well as the PSF have declined by 13.6 to and 5.4 for the PSF. It dropped all the way until from 6.19 to 5.35 for semi-D. Yeah, and on the overall on the other side for detached, there's a price increase, and on the other side is actually the on contrast PSF drop. These are mainly the land size for about 10,000 square feet. So that's why you see the vertical price goes up to about 14 million. Mainly for later I can share. Mainly these are part of the land size where actually mainly they buy and then buy for rebuild. As for the chart toppers, what you can see over here, these are both the vertical lowest quantum as well as lowest PSF. As I mentioned, the lowest quantum, this is MacPherson Estate, which is about 2.175 mil. And you see the land size is only 885 square feet, which I mentioned, less than 1,005. On the lowest PSF, on the other side, we are seeing a very big land size, about 5,000, but closing at almost close to 5.3 million, which is why you see it's only less than 1,000 PSF. As for the highest quantum, as usual, for D13 is always the Breaded Height, where this is Maclot Rise. This is about 10,000 square feet, and the price is almost 14.1 million. Overall, if you see the overall background, it's mainly they buy and then actually for rebuild. But not forgetting, This brother estate is actually for this Mallet Rise is only bungalow June. So you can only build bungalow. So even then, for this they rebuild, you will still come back to bungalow. On the other side, for the highest PSF, again, let's see look at the land size is less than 1,000. So when less than 1,000, when they're closing at above 3,000, so that's where you see a PSF. And this is almost like what I call renovated before. So that's why they are still selling. They're selling quite a high price with what I call land size of less than 1,000. You are selling almost 3.1. This, as what Sindhu have mentioned, D13. This is a D23. This is another area for people who actually buyer who want to actually entry level, looking at smaller land size, 3 million, below 3.5, that kind of thing. This is the place where you can actually come in. So let's dive in deeper on the price wise. So as you can see, the price range as usual for D13, we have 2 to 5 million, still consistently actually showing these significant changes. It's from now for Q2, we have actually more transacted, which is up to 63%. That's where, as I mentioned earlier, mainly from the terraces. So the terraces are actually closing more in the range of below 3 mil. As for the PSF side, okay, and we can see anything more than the transaction more than 2,000 square feet rises from 33 to 53. So again, especially the what you call more terraces closing more than 2,000 PSF. So as such, we are seeing actually more transaction above 2,000. Yep. So this is some of the details, and you can contact our HLD consultant for more details. This is some of the hot listings over here that we can actually propose to you. One of these is in the Terrace, Daisy Road. It's along Brother, very convenient for location like amenities, where it's actually in between two malls. So within a short walk of probably like between 8 to 10 minutes. And it's very good for you to actually maybe A&A. Yeah, and it's based on the good land size of 2,000. The price is only like 4.4. It's almost like 2001 PSF. So worth buying. Next one, Corner Terrace. This is brand new. Expected Q4, expected to be Q4 this year completion. So these are some of the property, new property. They are two identical. So you can take a look, contact our consultant for this brand new. Bring your luggage, move in, come with lift and pool as well. Next for semi-D, this is along Jalan Mawar. It's along McPherson Estate. It's inside McPherson Estate as well as the detached. Similar to it's same location. Jalan Mawar for semi-D, we can actually, this is almost a moving condition with some minor reno. 2.5 story. Most of the room are actually en suites. Yeah, most of the room en suite. So owner have actually spent quite a fair bit of money to actually doing the reno when they purchase. So it's almost like a move-in. On the detached side, you can see it's a very huge land size, 7,000 square feet, 7,002. It's only giving you 1,004 PSF. And with a frontage of almost 19 meters, this one can easily subdivide into two semi-D. And this is what we call 2.5 story, 2.5 story zone. So when you actually subdivide, you can go into two semi-D, worth buying. So these are some of the listing. Other than the hot listing, we have all these. So do contact our HLD consultant that invite you for more details. Next, I will actually bring you to D14. Okay, at a glance for D14, give me a minute. So for D14, what you can see as compared to D13 earlier on, so this is much more, the increase is almost 88%. There's a very sharp increase for this case. D14, sharp increase mainly from semi-detached, as comparison, the Q2, Q1, there's none for semi-detached for this quarter. There's quite a fair bit of closing transaction on this semi-detached. However, the price have actually reduced for both price and PSF, dropped slightly, not too much for PSF, but price is about 13%. That one mainly caused by the detached. So what you can see actually from this price, the average land size, again, if you see the Terrace price increase, one of the main reasons the average land size for Terrace have actually increased from 1,009, and now the average land size over in D14 goes to 2,002, 1,009 to 2,002. In contrast, I think the PSF slightly dropped. One of the reasons is because of land size generally go up. So, but not too drastic, still maintain at about close to 2,000 PSF. As for semi-detached, we don't have much comparison because Q1 does not have any transactions. So we can't make any comparison for semi-detached. As for detached, yeah, there's a slight there's some decline on the price as well as the PSF. This contribute mainly from the Terrace. On chart toppers, you can see this is actually Jalan Punai. Okay, we happens to find that actually, in fact, D14 supposed to be 13 and 14 generally are freehold, and we just realized that only this particular street, Jalan Punai, and not all, only a couple of units, and happen to be this unit happen to be a leasehold only. Probably, if you ask me, it's probably less than 10 units over there. So there's a mixture, but generally D14 are actually freehold. That's why you can see the PSF, it goes as low as 1,000 when you come to a semi-detached, and the price is only 2.85. So for semi-detached, this is, I mean, good for people who actually looking for landed, but they don't want to actually come out too much money. This is something that they can consider. Yep. Okay, on the highest quantum where you can see, again, if you look at 1,000 semi-detached of a detached, okay, a detached on the highest, what they call highest quantum, 6,004, and it's only closing at 8,009. One of the reasons is because across it are actually maybe some religious places, so probably people might concern. But however, any property can still be sold. It's just a pricing, just a PSF, and in terms of location. Yeah, so if you look at it, 6,004 detached, only 1,003 PSF. Worth buying, and in terms of condition, the condition is not bad actually for this one. On the other side, for this highest PSF, we have this semi-detached 2001. This is a moving condition. So if you look at the PSF, so generally you see between the lowest and highest PSF in D14 in the range of up to 2003. Yeah. So let's dive into the pricing. On 3 point, as you can see, the most popular price range for D14 have been hovering in the range of 3 mil to 6 mil. Remain not much changes. It's still about about 80%. So kind of like quite stable in this area. As for PSF range from 1,007 to 2,000 PSF, it remains still the most popular transacted PSF in this region for D14. So as such, we don't see much of the changes. So to get more details, again, approach our HLD consultant who invited you to get more details. So on recommending the hot listing for D14, we have one of them. This is a brand new Lengkong Dua. They have actually, if you can see from the picture 1, 2, 3, it's actually a 3 terraces together, brand new. So not only one, you can come in to have 3. So this is a corner terrace in the price range of 5.9 to 6 point something. Call the consultant for more details. This is target Q4 this year for TOP. On the other side for the another listing, what you can see, this is a corner terrace, Lorong Limau, Lorong Malayu. You can see the land size is pretty big, is 5,006, and it's only going for 1,003. And if I'm not wrong, the length of the house is almost 40 meters. So this is fantastic, and you can see you can easily park more than 5 cars. It's good for people who have actually sometimes invited your friends for like gathering or anything, or during festival so-called. There is actually a lot more than parking space. And again, this house is quite, I would say the condition was not bad. Call a consultant, take a look. It's only 7.5 for the 5,006 square feet. Next, we have another semi-detached, brand new. Looking at this one, we'll be looking at probably next year, 2025 TOP. This is a semi-D and it's going only for 6.6 mil. 6.6 mil. So come with pool as well as lift. Last but not least, for this detached, as you can see from the outside, this is quite luxurious, detached. So you have a 3-story, almost move-in, a little bit minor reno, and it's almost move-in. Land size is almost like 4,003, 3-story, and it's going for 7.85 nego. Yeah. Okay, these are some of the extra other listing in D14. Do contact the HLD consultant for more details. Yeah. Next, I'll pass to Justin for D15. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Jason. So tonight I'm Justin. I'm going to bring you or show you the main 5 highlights for District 15. Now I'm going to dive in faster to the chart. At a glance, we're going to see that we are experiencing, or we are seeing 18% more transactions actually compared to Q1. But if you versus the same quarter last year, it's actually about 43%, mainly due to terraces and detached houses. And you see the prices increased by 5.5 and the PSF by 2.6, which is relatively marginal and also quite stable in terms of the price of PSF. Now, what does as a buyer and seller do or look at when it's come to the prices for terrace, semi-D, and detached? We know that we have a different pool of buyer or seller tonight. They're looking at different types of houses. So for terraces, we are seeing a marginal 3.6% increase, but there was a decrease of 5.7% in total PSF. This is mainly due to there are 2 new houses in the terrace was sold in Q1 2024, which is the 129 Hammond, and also the other one is 44 Jalan Paiduli. So these are actually, they've already transacted at about 3,500, 3,005 PSF for a new one in the terrace. As for semi-D, there's also another different kind of directions. The price decreased by 1.9% marginal, but the PSF is increased by 11.7%, which is quite significant to 2001. This is actually mainly due to what I'm seeing here is actually they are actually buying same price, right? But PSF increases was actually mainly due to smaller lands of semi-D they are actually purchasing, which we are seeing about 13% lesser in terms of the price, the land size. But for the detached, there was a 24% increase, was very significant. And of course, these are mainly due to the detached houses that was sold in Katong, a Katong area, and with a PSF increased by 12.1%, which is actually also above 2,000. So Katong area, we are seeing a lot more interest now. They're coming into the buy, and they are actually, even for the land cost, as we are looking at about 2001 to 2002, just pure land cost. We are talking about you're buying the land to rebuild, right? Not to mention if those houses they're really already built up, we are looking at above 3,000. Okay, then the chart topper, you can see that the lowest quantum that was transacted in D15, quite surprisingly, is only 2.8 million. This is which you hardly can see, but this is actually a conserve, no, not a conserve, it's a residential shop houses. So with a land size only 2688, nevertheless, it's only sold at 2.8. For 12 Jalan Tua Kong, it's actually at Upright Estate. This PSF was relatively low because this land size is not regular and it's actually west facing, hence the PSF is lower. And for the highest quantum that was transacted was actually this Branson, sold 13,000 square feet, transacted at 29 million. So it's about 2002. Like I say, the land cost is about 2002 to 2003. And for this Carmel Road, there's residential shop house, right? It actually has the highest PSF because of the small land size. Okay, and I move on to the next one. We're going to look at the chart again. We're going to see the spread of District 15. How is it like? For 3 to 6 millions, which is still the bulk of the transactions, we see an steady increase about 58 to 60%. So we are seeing that the prices is not like increase a lot, but it's stabilizing. But for the PSF, we are seeing the bulk of the transaction in District 15 for more than 2,000 per PSF is actually about 53%. There was a 2% increase to 55%, a strong interest even though the price has been increasing in District 15. Right, people are still prefer to stay in the east. The fact that there's of the connectivity, and also I think this also bring along where not that you need it, but it also have some effect from the opening of Thomson East Coast Line, the MRT. Now, we do have a lot more analysis, but we can't show all by tonight. So if you're interested, to come to us. And the listing that we handpick a few, like this one, Inter Terrace 1661, built up about 5,000, going for 5 million. This house was, we handpicked this one because it's actually already built up for people who don't have time to construct, don't have time to go for A&A, just to do renovation. This a house that you can consider. And for the average, it's a corner terrace that is actually within the Chichat. You know, Chichat is a very rich heritage area where people love to stay, and with the amenities as well. So this is with a land size, good land size of 2007. Frontage is about 10 meters. So I think this is something that you can consider, already built up with 5 bedrooms en suites. And for semi-D, we have one in semi-D in Goodman. This is a very prestigious address, and people are looking to buy, to move in, or even to, as an investment, another portfolio to add up in the portfolio. This is something that you can consider. And actually, it's going for 10.9 and a frontage of 10 meters as well. And Lorong N tonight, I'm going to bring you one last listing for detached in Lorong N, specifically because this has a 12 meter. Again, this is already built up with a 6,002 renovated. So, but it's only going for 10 million asking, and PSF only 1792, which is something that you can actually consider and have a look. So as I said, we only handpicked 4 listings tonight because we have so many things to share, but we have limited time. But like we have a lot more listings that we have in District 15. Like come to us or come to any agents that invited you here tonight, and we can have a little bit chat on that. Okay, I'm going to pass on to Michael to talk about District 16. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Good evening, I'm Michael. I will cover District 16. Just like my predecessor, taking at a glance, how does this 16 perform? We saw an increase in volume by 62% from 21 transactions to 43. Average price, however, has dropped by 13.2% from 4.75 mil to 4.12 mil. On the other hand, the PSF has gone up by 6.2% and reaching a record high of 1661 PSF in District 16 for the first time. Going to detail, transaction by house type, terrace house, we see an increase in both price as well as PSF by 4.4% to a high of 3.91 mil for average terrace house in D16. This is actually a record. In terms of PSF, 22.9% increase and reaching 2,032 PSF, breaking the 2,000 barrier for the first time. Those of you who are buying the semi-D, this may be a good time to come in. A reduction of price by 12.9% to 4.46 million. PSF also declined by 16.5%, and it goes down to 1,239 PSF. Detached saw a bigger drop by 58%, and that's because from 9.4 mil to 3.9 mil. It is the house type. Q1 is a freehold transaction, whereas current quarter is actually 99 leasehold. Correspondingly, the PSF also dropped by 32.5% from a high of 1,313 PSF going down to 886. Let's look further. We are looking at the lowest transaction in the District 16. Commendable, this 3.38 million house is a single story, facing west, fetching a good price of 3.38 as the lowest transaction in D16. On the right side, you see the PSF. This is actually a semi-D, 12 Sunbird Road. It got a land area of 3,009, but was transacted only at 5,000. And that actually brings down the PSF to 1,282 PSF. On the high side, highest transaction is 7.38 mil for this Terrace semi-D house. It's a brand new and transacted highest 7.38 as compared to the previous quarter of 10 million transaction. Again, on the right side, you see the PSF 2,059 is record. This is the highest so far, and it is a terrace house, as you can see here, transacted at 5.75 mil, and that elevates the PSF to 2.950. We go deeper into it. Transaction trend. On an average, 2 million to 6 million, we saw the bulk of transaction in Q1 is 85%, and Q2 it go up to 91%. Interestingly, the highest transaction is below the 8 mil as compared to the first quarter, going up to even 15 mil. That's the difference. PSF, 50% is between 1,000 PSF to 1,005, as you can see from here, for both Q1 and Q2. What is interesting is there's actually a big jump in PSF transaction above the 2,000 PSF. Here we have 13 transactions, and out of these 13 transactions, 11 are terrace houses, and it goes beyond the 2,000 PSF for the first time. For those looking for terrace, moving forward, you may have to pay a higher cost. Next, our database has got a lot of information which includes transaction volume, transaction value by house type. All these are there. All you need to do is contact any of our lender consultants, and we'll be more happy to share specific detail with you. Hot listing that we have. The first one is Inter-Terrace. This is Inter-Terrace with a frontage of 7.7 meters, but it has got a good depth. Quite rare to see a terrace house with a land area of 2,006 and going for less than 2,000 PSF. If you recall, we have 13 cases of PSF of a transaction that goes beyond the 2,000, and this is 1925. It's still below the current trend. Another interesting one is this corner terrace here. If you can see, it got a wide frontage of 13.5 meters and very nice garden. If you have planned to buy this, you do not have to worry about car park, because left of this corner terrace, there is actually a big open space. You can park 4 to 5 cars. And the price tag is 5.8. It's a semi-D going at 1705 PSF. Oh, sorry, it's a corner terrace going at only 175 PSF. Next one is this semi-D that we have here. If you look at the semi-D, this is actually a linked semi-D. You can easily park 3 cars, one in front, one here, and one at the back. And it has got a good frontage of 13.5 meters, located on a high ground. And behind this semi-D, there's actually a park. So a very tranquil location for you to stay if you are looking for a semi-detached. And the last one that I have to share with you is this beautifully designed detached house going at 9.8. PSF is only 1573. If you look at it, it got a very wide frontage of 14.8 meters, and you can easily park 3 to 4 more cars. By the way, the red color here you see is the owner's car, which is parked here. So you can imagine you can park more cars. Very well designed house, and that you should be, if you are interested in it, we will be able to share with you more information on this detached. Apart from that, we have got all the other houses in the 616, 14 inter terrace, 24 corner, 61 semi-D, and 15 detached. Reach out to any one of us, and we will be able to give you the required information. With that, I shall pass on to Northeast region.
Okay, hello everyone, Sean from Huttons Landed. Right, so without further ado, let's rush through. It's a bit late for the whole Northeast. So with great data comes a lot of responsibility, okay? So I'm going to keep it quite short. So same thing as my other teammates. First thing first, for District 19, 20 and 28, this is one quarter that we see a lot of very interesting things, all right? So for District 19, not going to go through the exact details and the numbers with you. Some interesting facts, right? So for the first time ever, we see that the transactions in Kovan actually surpass Serangoon Gardens. This is very unprecedented, number one. Number two, for Serangoon Gardens itself, there's actually more semi-Ds transacted than terraces, right, in this quarter. Okay, so there's about 13 semi-Ds transacted in Serangoon Gardens, 6 of which are actually in original condition, right? The other 6 comprises of 2 brand new, all right? So definitely take this with just a pinch of salt. Right, all this data, the average value, it comprises of, single story all the way to brand new. So there's going to be a disparity in terms of, what is actually the value of the house that you're looking to buy versus what is the value of the house you're looking to sell. Okay. So what does it mean for you? If you are in the market for semi-Ds, definitely it seems that Serangoon Gardens is one of the hottest areas in District 19. Good thing to note also that for average sizes in District 19 and District 20, these sizes are actually increasing, all right? Terraces actually for across the board for District 19, the number of transactions actually remain quite flat, all right? Slight gain for District 19, but the bulk actually occurs in the semi-D and some of the detached, all right? Including one of the brand new detached in Serangoon Gardens. Okay, some of the chart toppers, again, Huttons Landed Division, we have one of the largest repository of sold listings, all right, down to all these details. I think as many as up to 40 plus unique selling points, right? So a data-driven approach is going to be very important to help you in your home search, or to give you the best kind of information to make the most informed decision when it comes to buying and selling. Okay, then again, even within Serangoon Gardens, not all houses are priced the same for various reasons, all right? So the highest definitely for District 19 will be brand new. So this happens to be a row of brand new houses. This is going to be in Kovan. All right, again, market forces, demand and supply. A lot of times the main questions that buyers will be looking out for is whether should I buy to rebuild? Do I have the time? Do I have the luxury? Or do I go for something that is brand new? Okay, so deeper dive into the data. Again, not surprisingly, the bulk of the transactions for District 19 will be categorized into the terrace segments. All right, so a lot of them occurs at the 3 to 5 million mark. Thereafter, semi-Ds have actually picked up. So the 5 to 6 million, we see quite a surge in the number of transactions. Okay, but still, we see actually still a kind of like stabilization, especially for a larger district like District 19 in terms of the volume, larger land sizes, and definitely in terms of the quantum transacted. Okay, when we look at the PSF, likewise, we see increasingly better signs of stabilization compared to the last few quarters. Number of transactions above 2,000 PSF seems to be marginal. All right, in fact, it's dropped slightly. Okay, again, as much as we like to, I think we have more than 60 over slides, comprising of, down to the estates itself, Serangoon Gardens, Coven, Bartley, Punggol, all those. So with each of them, we also do a much deeper dive, all right, to have the full comprehensive set of data. Please do look out for, reach out to any of Huttons Landed Division consultants. We have the full set quarter on quarter. All right, and these are some, okay, not to go on into detail, some of the more popular listings within our team itself. So just to give you a highlight, District 19, below 4 million, there are houses, of course, significantly at a lower land size, okay? But some of these, there's again a disparity. Some are single story, some are already 2 stories. So it really depends on your buyer's needs. Do you need more space? Are you looking to rebuild? Do you need a 2.5 with a mezzanine, for example, okay? Sharing more, this is my personal favorite. Okay, this semi-detached at Chuan, saw it personally, fell in love at first sight. Although it's a 99, okay, yes, ticks majority of the boxes. Only thing is, doesn't have a lift, okay? And of course, the brand new one at Chuan Garden, I think some of you who are familiar with this area would have already seen this beautiful, very large, majestic size detached. All right, so again, reach out to any one of us. We have probably, again, the largest repository of all these listings, especially in District 19, all right, covering the majority, Coven, Serangoon Gardens, etc. Okay, with that, District 20, one more after this. So District 20, I think what is really, really interesting this quarter is that we actually noted that it has stabilized majority, all right? There's still the same number of semi-Ds transacted, 5 quarter 1, 5 quarter 2. Terraces also kind of stabilized, okay? Majority of the terraces, actually, we saw a surge now in Thomson Garden area. This is closer to Aitong. Whereas the outliers, what we classify under others, Mayflower, Fulton, all those, there's only 1 transaction. All right, and average prices, again, has dropped, right? PSF has slightly increased a little bit. Again, this is in line with more transactions in Thomson Garden area. Semi-D, other than 1 brand new being sold, Thomson Ridge, there's actually 3 of them which are in original condition. So again, these figures for the average PSF will be kind of reflective. The two that are transacted actually are 2-story original. 1 is actually a single story. Okay, detached, only 2. So this one, we don't have a direct comparison. There wasn't any transacted in quarter 1. All right, again, these are the ones I mentioned about. Thomson Green, this is the record low for this quarter in terms of PSF. Decent land size, 3,005, 2 stories, okay, in need of, some revitalization, option to either do a A&A or to consider even rebuilt. All right, on the other spectrum, we have a very small terrace, under 1,000 square feet. Obviously, this will be fetching below 3 million, right? But in terms of PSF, it's going to be quite significant. On the other spectrum, there's actually 2 detached transacted. This is the one at Berjaya, beautiful house, super wide frontage, very big land. Okay, and this one actually sold pretty quickly as well. So the highest quantum. Again, the highest PSF usually will go to Thomson Garden area, again for the smaller land size, but in this case is 3 stories. So close 3,007 PSF. Okay, again, back to this. So we see that the houses between 4 to 5 dropped quite significantly. So ultimately, it really depends on, even for District 20, there's a fragmentation that we always talk about. So is it simply a lack of supply, or rather, as a buyer or seller tonight, what exactly are the house types that you're looking for, or the house conditions, right? And for PSF, okay, so similar to District 19, we see a drop. So District 19 and 20 so far, we are below the overall average, right? In terms of the volume gain, in terms of the average PSF. Okay, again, all the reports at your request. Anyway, someone asked just now, this seminar will still be recorded, should be launched on our YouTube channel, Huttons channel, in the coming days, all right? So if in case you need to scroll back or you missed out, or you find that there's not enough time for Northeast, please give us a ring. Okay, again, some of the more popular listings that we have in our repository, some semi-detached and this brand new detached in Sembawang Hills. Okay. All right, last district. So District 28, we'll spend a little bit more time. So in the past, I think 3-4 quarters, District 28 has always been influenced by the new sales at Holland Collection. So always, it takes extra work, extra effort to actually exclude all of this from the results. So for the first time in the longest time, the market trends in District 28 reversed, all right? So we see more than double number of transactions in District 28 in Q2. Majority are terraces. Okay, so the average price drop is not surprising in this aspect. All right, PSF as well, because a lot of the terraces that are transacted, most of them appear to be moving condition, either in Luxus Hills or simply they are already 2 stories. All right, very few that transacted are actually single story for rebuilt. Okay, I will skip past this one. Okay, so these are some examples of the lowest kind of PSF and the lowest quantum in District 28. Okay, and of course the highest, no surprise here, it will be Luxus Hills again. So actually this is probably one of the highest on record for District 28. So again, with District 28, got to take it with some caution. Luxus Hills is always a 3.5 stories, right? As opposed to some areas, it's only 2.5. So of course, the ultimate built-up area is going to vary from area to area, and thus will be reflected also in the price. Okay, so back to this chart. So again, 3 to 6 million doubled, not surprising. Most are terraces. Okay, adjustment for the price compared to past quarter. So ultimately, why is there suddenly such a surge in transactions in District 28? Right, a lot of things may come into play. One definitely is the demand and supply, or the perception of choice. Right, Pollen collection is something that majority of the older houses do not have. 3.5 with lift. Right, and also at a very, very enticing entry point of below 4 million. Okay, and lastly for the PSF, all right, ultimately that we still see quite a significant jump above 2000 PSF, but this doesn't apply to all house types, doesn't apply to all house conditions. To find out more exactly what houses transact with all the details at which price gap, yes, please reach out to any of our consultants. All right, and again, these are some of the more popular ones. Again, these are mostly the trend is like this, right? Most of the houses have been fully maximized. So Sunrise, Luxus Hills, these are 3.5 story zones with or without lift. Okay, and for brand new, these two are the ones that definitely are probably the only 2 ones left in the market, right? The rest have already been sold. The caveats have not been out. So if you're in the market for a semi-D with pool, lift, wide frontage, parks 3 cars, Jalan Bangau is definitely one to look out for. If you're looking out for a very wide detached, also more lifestyle feel, Niram definitely something that you might want to consider. All right, with that, I'll hand over back to Willie. It's been a long session tonight.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. How do you find the session so far? Is it overwhelming? We try to make it as easy to understand as possible, but I hope you take it in your stride that the numbers analysis showed is going to appeal to you, is going to be relevant to you if you are really, I think, a active stakeholder and are willing to dive into numbers. In fact, like what Sean and many of my teammates say, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that we can share, especially when it comes to analysis by the various sub-districts or sub-region. That's right, the so-called areas, right, within each district. Okay, so for now, is there any question? All right, just give maybe just 5 minutes. We're running out of time. Any questions? So we've already answered quite a number via the chats. There's one question that I thought will be relevant. Someone have posted this, and I thought it'd be good to share the answer. Is of course, how do we see the market moving forward? I think you've seen the various district analysis that this word called stabilizing has come up, right, in many of the various reports, and this is what we are seeing in a sense in terms of, I think, prices, for example. I think pricing, unless there are certain major jerks or stimulus to, I think, the external environment, we foresee that I think prices will still continue to rise, albeit in a very smaller percentage, okay, like we said earlier, about maybe under 5%, so to speak. So, but to expect a drop, this is, we feel is quite likely, because I think based on what we are seeing now in the market, bear in mind, a landed transaction usually takes 3 to 6 months. So what we are feeling now, what we are seeing now, the insights we're having every day, every week, every weekend, will probably translate into transactions in the next 3 to 6 months. And based on what we are seeing right now, it still looks like it's gonna end quite strongly, all right? Not for just Q3, but for also the rest of the year. As for, again, the specific areas, I think we cannot just give a ballpark figure for every district or every house type, or even like what some of my teammates say, even the house condition, for example. Okay, speaking of which, one thing just came to my mind as I was going through is that you notice more and more transactions being done are actually older and older houses, which means that more and more people are willing actually to redo the house. Okay, so another interesting insight that have been reflected in the numbers. All right, any other questions? So thank you very much. My name is Willie once again, and on behalf of Huttons Landed Division, HLD for short, please remember this name, remember our polo. Check us out in the various social media, and we hope to see you not just 3 months later in the landed webinar, but also on the ground, okay? Or in a face-to-face meeting. In fact, tomorrow we have a lot of meetings already with the buyers and sellers, right? Thank you very much and have a good evening.